All right, y'all, it's the off season, so we talking about off season type stuff, not camp battles, but OTA battles. All right, who kind of needs to make the right impression during that time? We're going to talk about all that. What are OTAs, mini camps, all that good stuff. We're going to speak on that and more right here on the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace. Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And you know what it is, man. Make sure y'all tune into all the stuff that I got going on. We got Locked On 49ers with myself and Brian Peacock coming at you 5 days a week, touching on everything pertaining to the San Francisco 49ers. Different setting, not quite like this, right? You know, again, I like to look at this as a radio show and give y'all your voice, bring y'all on. We're going to do all that good stuff and more. Locked On NFL Draft. We're about to start digging into some of the prospects for the following year. So, man, listen, there is no off seasons when it comes to the NFL Draft, all right? So we're going to talk about all those prospects and more. Locked On NFL Draft. Make sure you tune into that. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on all that good stuff. Make sure you tune into that. And, I don't know. My audio sounds weird. I already know what it is. Hold on. Got to set my mic up. Didn't set my mic up. There we go. All right, here we go. I should be good now. Appreciate that in the chat. At least somebody told me. Like, hey, man. All right. Shout out to you, Joshua. But it's OTA time. Oh, yeah. I know what I was saying. A lot of y'all tuned in last night. For the Not Ideal podcast, which this start to this podcast was not ideal, right? I had to sound off a little bit. I was actually originally talking through the MacBook mic and not the actual Shure mic. All right, but the Not Ideal podcast, last night we were live, myself, my wife, talking about all things business, marriage, entrepreneur. So, you know, if y'all tuned into that, shout out to y'all. And I see the numbers, over 1,500 people watched it so far. So that's what's up. And also it's on all the streaming platforms. You just have to type in the Not Ideal podcast with Eric Crocker and it should pop right up. Shout out to all y'all that was tuned in. That was fun. My wife had a good time too. She was like, that was fun. Like now she want to become a podcaster. Look at that. Crazy. I'm going to have to get her own stuff because right now we got one mic. We're trying to like share one mic. And this is like a sports setting. And maybe we'll do something to where we do go live, but from a different area in our house. You know, something like that. So, yeah. Shout out to everybody. There we go. Got the people in the chat right now. Right here. Yes, indeed. I was rocking with you. Dope episode. Thank you. Great show with the wifey. Let's go. Yeah, it was dope. It was dope. See how many people watched it, man. Like how many people were in there live? We got up to about 100 people. And that was good because, you know, that's not 49ers related. I know a lot of my subscribers are 49ers related, but, you know, that was what's up. Wife had a good time. I'm going to change the setting a little bit. I'm going to have to go buy her a mic. And when I bring her on, it'll be recorded in a different area of the house. On the next episode, I am going to have my boy Dwight McClain on. And Dwight McClain, he has made a killing. This is my dog. All right, we played together in the Arena League. We played together for a little bit in 2012 with San Antonio. We played together for sure in 2014 in Portland. And, I mean, we, you know, football guys. Well, he was always really into fitness, taking care of himself, his body, everything like that. And we were roommates out in Portland. And to see what he's doing now, all right, it's crazy. I wanted to get like big names on the Not Ideal podcast. I'm like, man, what big names? You know, this guy, that guy. But my homies are doing some great things. So Dwight, he sells, he calls them booty bands, right? They're the kind of like the resistance bands you put around your knees and your ankle, you know, all the bands and stuff like that. And they're called tailor-made bands. And he is killing it. He's killing it, y'all. I'm so proud of him, what he's doing, pulling up new whips, Tesla, big ass truck. This, that, got the old school. I mean, he's killing it. He's doing his thing and running his business. So I can't wait to get him on. We will be going live next Tuesday, to talk about that. But I know y'all ain't come here to hear about all that good stuff. If you want to listen to more of that, go ahead, check the description below. Y'all came here to talk some 49er football. And I want to talk about OTAs and OTA battles. Now, listen, I know that most people, and even the casual fan, most people, they'll tell you, man, OTAs don't mean anything. I'm here to tell you it does. Because when I was in the NFL and I got to OTAs, dudes were getting cut left and right. All right. Dudes were getting cut left and right. So it means something to some people. Now, as far as some of the big dogs, it might not. But I do think it means a little bit more. And when I say big dogs, guys that they've invested a lot in, it means a lot for Trey Lance right now. All right, Trey Lance. So we're going to get into Trey Lance first. Trey Lance, he has the opportunity to put to rest the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing. All right. It's all going to be predicated on how do they feel about him heading into training camp. If Trey Lance goes into OTAs and lights it up, and he's grasping everything, and they're not the mental mistakes, and he's making his throws, which I believe the more comfortable he gets in an offense, the more accurate and more consistent he's going to be. He just has to get really consistent. And clearly, as a rookie, he wasn't quite there. Now, he did start to see him settle down against Houston second half, but just in the sense of him truly understanding what Kyle Shanahan wants from him, that's going to take a little bit of time. So, yeah, they have to get comfortable with Trey Lance being the guy. And whether people think that it's important or not, it starts in OTAs. How is Trey Lance taking command of everything while Jimmy Garoppolo's away? Garoppolo's not there. Garoppolo's rehabbing somewhere else. I don't even know where the hell he is. All right. So how is Trey Lance's leadership? How are the guys buying into the thought of Trey Lance being like the leader, the guy? How is Trey Lance commanding the offense? During OTAs, like you throw the ball and stuff. There's routes on the air. There's team stuff. Now, is it as important as the mini camps, which will be coming up? I don't have the mini camp dates in front of me, but I think they start up soon. No, but the mini camps, that's another thing. Like once the mini camps go, like you are live, and I don't care what anyone says. I'll say this about mini camps. You might not, some guys, right? Some of the veterans, they might not be in like the best shape of their lives, but trust me, like guys are out there competing doing mini camps. Like it's a real thing. Like you are competing, and there are people who it means more for, right? Like the mini camps meant more for Eric Crocker than it did Antonio Cromartie. But please believe Antonio Cromartie was very serious about it. Like it's reps, and at the end of the day, we are competitors. There's nobody out there just like, man, I'm just gonna let this dude whip my ass all day. Like, no, because everything is on film. You watch just as much film on practice and things like that during mini camps and OTAs and all that as you do on practice, like during the season. Like you want to correct your mistakes. So you need to see, okay, who's grasping things, who's getting it down. So everybody talks about OTAs and mini camps as if it's like an afterthought or something that's not important. But I'm here to tell you, it's very important. And it's even more important for Trey Lance, who is trying to make Jimmy Garoppolo go away. And unless Trey Lance makes the team and front office and coaches feel comfortable with him enough to just, all right, Jimmy, we just really don't need you. Like, it's going to turn in, there's going to be some kind of battle. So I started this topic talking about, hey, OTA, battles, all that good stuff. And I think it starts at the quarterback position, even with Jimmy Garoppolo being away. If Trey Lance goes out there again and he shows everything that they want to see, it gives them a little bit more leeway with what they want to do with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, if you see the opposite, if Trey Lance goes in and it's like a little shaky still, right? A little up and down, and the tough thing with that is a lot of guys, other guys, they're going to get the opportunity to just jump in. And whether it's up and down, shaky, or whatever, it doesn't matter because they're the guy. The 49ers have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster, and they've won a lot of games with him. They are trying to trade him. They don't want him here, but They're not just going to cut him. So there's a chance he's here. And if that's the case, Trey Lance has to compete with Jimmy Garoppolo. But he can make it to where it doesn't have to get to that in training camp by showing out now. All right, so Trey Lance, this is OTAs, very, 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 very important for Trey Lance. OTAs mini camps, very important. Not more important than training camp, of course, but just important in the sense of how they feel about him heading into training camp. The next battle, running back. So the 49ers, they drafted a running back. All right. Pierce, gosh, why do I always Tyrion Pierce Price Davis Price. I don't know why I keep forgetting his name, and he's not on the depth chart. He is on the roster. Let me get his name real quick. There we go. Yeah, Davis Price. Tyrion Davis Price. So they drafted Tyrion Davis Price at running back. So here's my thing. The running back position is very, very interesting. And I wasn't very high on drafting Davis Price in the third round. But if they would tell me, well, Croc, we drafted Davis Price in the third round because we expect him to not only compete with Elijah Mitchell, but maybe beat out Elijah Mitchell. If that's their thought process, then this is a legit battle. And again, it starts in OTAs, things like that, right? Where it's just like, how does he look? Does he look comfortable catching the ball at the backfield? Is he picking up the playbook? Now, maybe this isn't as important of a time for as a guy like Elijah Mitchell, and for him, it might not be as important until the games come because you know what he can do, right? I mean, if he plays every game last year or just doesn't miss as much, I mean, he's 1,100 yard running back. But to me, they drafted Davis Price for a reason, and it feels like that reason is, do they want him to come in and play over Elijah Mitchell? Because if you drafted Davis Price in the third round to be a spellback, then I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with the value of that at all. Like, if that's what you're telling me. If it's just, oh yeah, we just brought him in just, so when Elijah Mitchell gets tired or, have a cool 1-2 punch. And you drafted him in the third round. Hell, you got a 1-2 punch with, Jeff Wilson, or, you could have it with Trey Sermon. You haven't really given him an opportunity. Like, to me, like, I don't know. It was a little weird. Like, if you draft a running back in the third round, I feel like you're drafting him to come in and be the guy. That's the only thing that kind of really makes sense to me. So, if that's the case, then for Davis Price, this battle with Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon, it starts now. Picking up things. How fluid is he looking? Catching the ball. Now, obviously, as a running back, there's not a whole lot you can show in OTAs or even training camp. Like, you can't really show a whole lot until like the actual games. Like, you put the pads on and we thudding up. You know what I'm saying? But I think just in the sense of, again, starting to feel comfortable with certain guys, that starts now. And Elijah Mitchell, I don't know why they drafted a running back third round. Let me rephrase that because I know y'all go, crap, 49ers running backs couldn't stay healthy. They had to use Deebo Samuel in the backfield. Like, when I say that, I don't think that you draft that in the third round. Like, I don't think you draft insurance at the running back position in the third round. I believe if you draft in the running back third round, you want him to play over Elijah Mitchell. That's what I've come away with. All right, real quick. Let's see. I see I'm going to get to some of these things in the chat real quick. Will Trey be at rookie minicamp? He's still a rookie technically. Nah, the new league year started, so he's not a rookie. Or are you saying technically because he only started 2 games? He probably won't be at rookie minicamp. It'll probably be Brock Purdy just getting all the reps. Like last year, right? Last year it was Trey Lance. He got like every rep. There were no other quarterbacks at rookie minicamp. And rookie minicamp might be different now than when I played. When I played rookie minicamp, it was, there were a bunch of guys out there. They filled out basically an entire roster damn near of guys. And like had at least 2 deep at every position. And you went out there and you were competing. And there were a lot of guys at rookie minicamp trying to make the squad. Now, I don't think they kept anyone from rookie minicamp. Did they? Like, and when I mean by that, like when I went to rookie minicamp, like I was a rookie, but I was signed, I was under contract. So, it was like, okay, Croc, he's already on the team. But there are other guys that can compete. They could take my spot because it's not like I had a ton of money guaranteed. They could have cut me right away, right? But I don't think you'll see Trey Lance there. You do sometimes. You'll see second year guys there. You will see guys that maybe kind of journeyman or whatever that are trying to find their way. And even though they're not a rookie or even the second year guy, they might be a third or fourth year guy, but they haven't really been able to play. They might be there and trying to make a the squad or whatever. But I don't think you'll see Trey Lance there. I don't at all. Not throwing to the rookies. Let's see. How quickly we forget we were picking guys off of other practice squads last year. Remember? Yeah. So E, I'm trying to figure out where you're going with that. How cool forget? Okay, so guys are always going to get picked off of other practice squads. Like that's going to happen. Like if you see, or you talking about as far as injuries, maybe. But again, if we're talking about, and I'm thinking you're alluding to the running back position, drafting third round. If you are talking about insurance at the running back position, I don't think you draft insurance at the running back position just based off of value in the third round. Now, fifth round, sixth round, some point day 3, things like that. I get it. I get it. And you don't have to pick a guy off of someone in the practice squad. You drafted a guy fifth, sixth round. But third round to me is I'm still looking for a starter in the third round. Right? Like that's what, like, and I know Danny Gray, we talked about him. I don't think he's going to be a starter right away, right? Maybe eventually. But I'm looking for a starter in the third round. I look at what the Houston Texans did. Let me bring up their draft real quick. Houston Texans draft. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. All right, so Houston Texans. Here are their picks. Derek Stingley Jr., number 3 overall. He's coming in. He's going to be a starter. Kenyon Green, 15th overall, offensive guard. He's coming in. He's going to be a starter. Second round, Jalen Petrie, safety, coming in. He's likely going to be a starter. Most likely, right? Pick 44, John Mechie. He's probably going to be a starter. Third receiver at worst, but I think he's going to be right up there with my guy, Brandon Cooks. All right, so we're talking about 4 guys off rip who are likely going to be starters for the Houston Texans. Now, the next 2 guys, Christian Harris, linebacker. This is third round. Christian Harris is probably going to start at middle linebacker for them. And not because they're bad at middle linebacker, just because 1, he's a really good football player, and 2, he's playing a position I bet they're like, we want you to come in and be the guy right now. Now, with their pick 107, they drafted running back out of Florida, Dameon Pierce. That's 107's fourth round. I bet you at the running back position with Dameon Pierce, you will likely see him running with the ones come week 1. If Dameon Pierce isn't starting, I bet he has a big role and eventually will become the starter, because I don't think they drafted Dameon Pierce at 107 to not be the guy. I bet. Dameon Pierce, they drafted him to come in. We want you to be the starter. So that's how I look at it. And that's after the 49ers took Davis Price. So that's my thing. Like, are you drafting Davis Price because you want him to be the starter? And if so, then it makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense. I think we see this as well. Sermon was also a third round pick, right? And I think Sermon was drafted last year to eventually be the starter. I think they when they drafted him, in their head it was, all right, Raheem Mostert, we'll see 1 year left. Come in, okay, you could do some things, but Trey Sermon, we're gonna give you an opportunity to really shake some stuff up, and he just didn't do it. Matter of fact, Elijah Mitchell did. If you had trade to this class, what is your grade 0 to 10? I'll give it a 7.5. I thought about that. We actually kind of broke that down on the Locked On NFL Draft Show. We've done draft grades. I think I gave the 49ers grade a C+, and it didn't really move with me, like talking about if I added Trey Lance to this, because we don't know what he is. Like the Oakland Raiders, they used a first round pick on Devontae Adams. So what did I do? I included Devontae Adams into their draft grade, right? Because it's like you used a first round pick to bring in this guy, so you're missing a guy. Like I had to include him as part of your class, players you're bringing in, and then like that bumps their grade up. With Trey Lance, I just don't know because I don't know. Again, I'm trying to bring a non-objective, insight to this question, right? Like obviously, I'm rooting for Trey Lance. I want Trey Lance to be the guy. I think Trey Lance can be the guy. But there's still, from the outside looking in, say I have nothing to do with the 49ers, a lot of unknown with them. Again, I think there's a lot of unknown with them in the building. And that's why I say OTAs is so important for him. Just what does it look like? Is he grasping it? Is he throwing the ball well? How's it spinning it? Did they change his mechanics a little bit? How's he working through that? Is he thinking about his mechanics? All those things, and all those things are going to give them more or less confidence heading into training camp. So I don't think that the team knows exactly where Trey Lance is. How could you? He's only started 2 games. I'm pretty sure I know what they want to see from him and what they're hoping to see and what they feel like he can't be. But I don't know even if I added him to this draft, maybe if there's a lot of unknown with it and it's just like what you think the upside is, I probably would I would bump it up to a B. But because we have seen him play and there's good, there's bad, there's whatever, there's learning, all that, it's hard to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to give him this, they're going to bump the grade up because they have Trey Lance. I hope that makes sense. I know I said a whole lot there. Okay, so we're calling Davis Price TDP. All right. If TDP is there to replace Sermon, that more just proves the point that drafting that high doesn't make sense. Oh, because Sermon was okay. That's where you're going. Okay, yep, I agree. Here's a good one. San Francisco roster versus Houston roster ain't even close, bro. You know what, man? I agree, but I'll say this: would Derek Stingley Jr. start on the 49ers at cornerback? Yeah. Right, like he come in like Derek Stingley Jr. You drafted him like you coming in to start, right? Would Kenyon Green start for the 49ers at guard? Yes, he would. Would Jalen Petrie start at safety for the 49ers? Yes, he would. Would John Mechie come in and be your number 3 receiver behind Ayuk and Deebo Samuel? Yes, he would. Now, Christian Harris, would he start? Maybe not. But Dameon Pierce, he's a good running back. Would he be able to compete with Elijah Mitchell? Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't draft him there from the 49ers. But we can say that like they have guys. These guys would start for the 49ers. Maybe not Christian Harris because you do have Azeez Al-Shaair. You have Dre Greenlaw. They'd be able, but he'd compete with them. 100% Christian Harris would compete with those guys. And he could potentially win. Will he? I don't know. But John Mechie, he's coming in. Matter of fact, I said he's behind Deebo and Ayuk. John Mechie come in and be your slot receiver who can work outside and you can move guys around. He's in that rotation. He's one of those guys. Period. And he's coming off an injury, and it ain't gonna matter. It ain't gonna matter. Did I call them Oakland? My bad. Croc, we redrafted all the same positions as last year. I feel like we do it over from 2021 competition for all the guys that we took last year. That could be it. Let's see. It makes sense if by week 2 or 3 we are looking at other teams' practice squad running backs. But it still doesn't make sense because I'm not saying don't draft running back. I didn't say that. I said I don't like the value of drafting a insurance running back in the 3rd round. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say don't draft a running back. So you could have drafted running back 5th round, 6th round, where I feel like they're better suited to go. And I feel like the 49ers have gotten really good value and play out of guys that they've either got late or undrafted. So that's what I'm saying from a value standpoint of 3rd round. I ain't saying don't get running back. Hell, you could have drafted multiple running backs later in this draft, and you wouldn't have to pick off of someone else's practice squad. I'm just saying, if you're not bringing in Davis Price to be the guy in the on your team, then why am I drafting him third round at that position? Because running backs don't go high. It's not one of these other positions where it's not one of these positions where like, oh man, like the running backs are just going hella high. Not like that, right? Like, how many receivers did we see go first round? 6. How many running backs? 0. How many defensive line did we see go first round? Like a lot, right? How many corners did we see go first round? A good amount. You don't see running backs though, because the value is just not there. So that's why you don't see running backs really go high, right? And if you typically if you do, like the running back Breece Hall, he got drafted by the Jets. Some people are like, why did the Jets take him with a premium pick? There's a lot of that, and I like Breece Hall to them, and I assume Breece Hall is coming in to be the guy. They drafted, was it Michael Carter last year, the New York Jets? Breece Hall, I guarantee, because they drafted him day 2, like the 49ers drafted running back day 2. But Breece Hall, he was drafted day 2. He's coming in. He's going to start. Guaranteed, we can bet money on it. All right, so that's all I'm saying. I ain't saying don't draft a running back. I'm just saying the value of a third round, if he's not coming in to be the guy, is just a little weird. That's all. But Croc, that's value for most teams in the NFL. The Niners are a run-heavy team. That's cool. You can be a run-heavy team. Now, again, okay. I'm not saying don't draft running back. What I'm saying is, if you run heavy, all that good stuff, whatever. If you are bringing a third round running back in to be the guy, it makes more sense to me. I'm not saying don't draft Davis Price in the third round. I'm saying it doesn't make sense to draft Davis Price in the third round if you're not bringing him in to be the guy. If you are saying that you're drafting a running back third round for insurance, that is bad value. That's all I'm saying. So again, if he's coming in to be the guy, awesome pick. If he's coming in to be value or insurance, that's bad value. I hope that makes sense. Shout out to my guy Peacock in there. He says I'm a running back hater. Yeah, but we'll see. I think DDP would have been available. Now, look, I don't want to guess where he would have been. I don't want to guess and say, you know what? I think he would have been a 5th round pick. I think he would have been a 5th round. I don't know. I'm not. If that's the guy that they like, then they like him and they draft him 3rd round. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe he's there 5th round. Maybe he's not. I'm saying whether he's there 5th round or not, I wouldn't have taken him with that, where I feel like is more of a premium pick, where I'm bringing in a guy to kind of play. All right, so that's, we'll see. Hey, Dameon Pierce. I don't know if y'all watched Dameon Pierce. He got drafted 4th round. He can run through people's face. Really not. When you really watch running backs and the value of it, and I've heard my guy Brian Peacock, he's in here right now. Shout out to Peacock. You already know, man, 5 days a week on the Locked On 49ers podcast. But I heard Peacock talk about, like, running backs don't really move the needle in the sense of like wins and losses a whole lot. They don't, matter of fact, here we go. For anybody that wants to come on, we could talk about this. I didn't even get to the rest of the battles I want to talk about, but here we go. Y'all go ahead, come on live right now so we can have this discussion about the value of running backs. I would love to hear some of y'all perspective on, what, if you felt like, man, like that was 100% the right pick. I just want to hear your perspective live. So come on live and let's talk about it. Again, I'm not saying that Davis Pierce is a bad player. I'm not saying that Davis Pierce is someone who shouldn't be drafted. I'm not saying 49ers shouldn't draft him 3rd round if he's coming in to be your guy. If he is not coming in to be your guy, it's just a little questionable. That's all. But I want to hear what my guy Tyrell White has to say, man. Good morning, bro. Can you hear me?
Yo, Croc. How you doing?
All right, yeah, we got you. Yeah, so
all right.
So, what are your thoughts on this, on the running back thing? Because it's coming off as if I don't like the player, and that's not the case. I just
Yeah,
look
I
at the
don't. I
value
don't.
of it, and I'm like,
Well,
but what do you think?
I didn't take it as you didn't like the player. I just take it like you were saying the value, but I just disagree with the value too because, like I said, if by week 2 or 3 we're looking for a new running back in other teams' practice squads, I think we're like shooting ourselves in the foot. If if Mitchell goes down, I just don't trust it to happen the same way it did last year, where Trey Sermon drafted in the third round, not as good as, or the team didn't like him as much as they like Mitchell drafted in the 6th round, right? So I don't trust it to happen again, that Kyle and John are going to be off on the running backs again. I think they got the right guy in the 3rd round this time, I think. You know what I mean? I think, I think, uh, uh, Grant didn't like the third picks at the 3rd round picks at all. The Davis or the second day picks, Davis Gray or David or Danny Gray.
Yeah,
Danny Gray and Price. He didn't like either of those picks, but I just feel like in 2 or 3 years, we're going to have to draft another running back and another receiver, anyways. You might as well get them and try to develop them now. You know what I mean? And I think those two players do fit the mold of what they do offensively. You know what I mean? Those crossers. I think Price is a good run blocker. You know what I mean? Or a pass blocker. I mean, uh, and I think they're good for the offense. Not necessarily they'll move the needle now as far as 2022, 2023, but maybe a year later or the year after that. I think they're just planning for the future. And
okay.
because we like to use our 1st round picks on DNs and linemen and defensive
Which
linemen. You know
which
what I
I
mean?
get. Those are more
Yeah, you know what I mean.
premium positions.
Which
So
is
yeah, that
cool.
makes sense.
I'm down with that. You know what I mean? If we're not going to be able to draft, uh, when's the last time the Niners picked somebody a receiver in the 1st round? You know what I mean? AJ Jenkins. You know what I
Nah,
mean?
Brandon Knight.
Oh yeah, in the 1st round. Oh, we moved back up to get him. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. But we usually don't do that. You know what I mean? We usually don't come after the position skills in the 1st round. Usually we build from the trenches. So I'm cool with drafting those developmental players, and I think those two have really high upside as far as speed and translating to the field. I remember how you were saying that Gray doesn't use his speed consistently to beat the defender, uh, to make him to make his speed threaten the defender more consistently, I should say.
yeah. And
And
that's something he can learn. I want to
yeah,
make sure I
you know what I
say
mean.
that.
And I think he reminds me of a Debo player, and I hate to say that because all the trade and all that kind of stuff, but he reminds me. He does a lot of those things that Debo does. Those crossers, how Debo catch a 5-yard slant and take it to the house. He does that a lot that I've seen on film. Like just, I remember there was even one play where the defender got his hand on the ball and he was just in the perfect position and made like a tip catch and took it. Maybe I don't know if he took it to the house, but he took it. He knocked off a big chunk on that one, and it was just his focus and his just paying attention and staying in the play after the defender, like I think it was a linebacker tipped the ball, and he was just
Yeah,
there and caught the ball and took it. So I think we're in the right direction as far as draft 2 years before we're actually going to need the player, and keep drafting and using our top picks for D lineman. I think that's the way to go.
yeah. All right, I hear you, man. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
All right, you have a good one, Crap.
All right, you too. Real quick, about to get to the next caller. I did want to address this one right here from my guy Eric Fields. People complained last year too, turned out to not be a bad decision, and not everyone pans out, even first rounders. That is true. I don't know what people complained about. I don't know. I know I can't speak for everyone. I can speak for myself. I can't think of a pick I complained about. I do know after watching Aaron Banks, I was confused by the who they picked because I'm like, he doesn't look like what they're looking for. He doesn't move very well, and he's kind of clumsy, and he's kind of a big wall where if he has like that man blocking, like he's good there, but twists and stunts and things where he has to move and kind of move out of space. Especially what I think of the 49ers offense with moving offensive linemen. I didn't think he excelled at that. So I was like, I don't know why they drafted Aaron Banks. We'll see, but I at least knew where they were going with the pick. Okay, we need to address offensive line. We need to have a right guard. Like, we want Aaron Banks to come in and start at right guard. Like, those things were very clear, and it didn't happen. I can't think I complained about. Matter of fact, I don't really complain about picks. I didn't understand the third round pick, but typically I'm not one to it's whatever. Danny Gray. I think most people are higher on Danny Gray than me, but I get what they're trying to do, so I understand it. So a lot of times I try to make sense of it in my head, and then, okay, this is what I think they're trying to do. This makes sense, yada, yada, yada. Cool. I can't make sense of the Davis Price pick, and that's what I'm having trouble with. But yeah. But anyways, here we go. We got Medic Mike coming on. Here we go. Good morning, man. How you doing, bro?
Hey, good morning, Croc. How you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm chilling. I'm blessed.
Shout out to Nate. We were just having a little conversation in the chat about running backs, and I don't understand the pick at all. You've consistently gotten production. Everyone you've gotten production out of has been 6th round or later. Undrafted free agent, Elijah Mitchell. You just took a running back 3rd round last year. Why would you use that pick on another running back? That means one of those two positions, either Trey Sermon or TDP, one of them is not getting utilized. I mean, the league is made up of 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. The majority of your league is made up of that. Like, you draft someone in the 3rd round, you're expecting them to be a consistent producer. Trey Sermon didn't do that. Elijah Mitchell was the one getting a rock last year. Now you draft TDP in the 3rd round. Okay, that means either last year was a bad pick or this year is going to be a bad pick. One of those is going to be a bad pick just from a value perspective. So when you're looking at that and people say, oh, we had to get running backs off practice squads and this, that, and the other. Well, one, they were running Elijah Mitchell into the ground. They were giving him 27, 28, 29 carries when you had Hasty and Sermon sitting there like, give me the rock. Like, hey, put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. So, I mean, we got to get Trent Cannon. We lost Mostert for the year. Jeff Wilson, he was hurt or suspended for the beginning of the season. I don't remember which one, but it's just from a value perspective, it doesn't. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense from a value perspective. Like, you've shown you can get production from running backs later on. If I take you in the 3rd round, I'm expecting you to play a significant role, either to come in on certain packages, to be a situational edge rusher, to be, a nickel corner, something. But I'm expecting you to have that potential to transition into that starting role. TDP might.
And maybe that's what it is, right? Like, maybe they are expecting more of him. My thing was, and I was hoping I made it myself clear on it. It's if you draft him in the 3rd round to be the guy, then it makes sense to me. If you draft him in the 3rd round for insurance, then not at running back position, then I don't like that value. I hope that makes sense.
No, that does. I mean,
I don't like that they drafted a running back, or I don't want them drafting running backs. I just, my thing, the way my mind works with anything that the 49ers do, I just try to make sense of it in my head. Okay, why would they? Okay, I see. All right, like, okay, that makes sense. And then, it's a little interesting, right? And that pick was just a little interesting to me. That's all.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is, it's impossible to say, okay, this was a good pick, but then last year 3rd round pick was a good pick. And if Trey Sermon develops, then you're going to have him and Mitchell. Then there's no way you're going to be able to say this 3rd round pick was a good value pick. So either way, one of those picks is not getting the value it needs. We know Mitchell's ahead of Sermon on the depth chart already. And so one of those 3rd round picks is not getting that value. Now, which one is it? We'll see. But the value was not there. That was my most hated pick. I actually liked most of the rest of the draft. I thought Drake Jackson was a phenomenal pick. I didn't think he was going to fall to us. I thought the lineman dude, we took Buford in the 4th round. I thought that was a great pick. I think we always have a great undrafted free agent class. But yeah, that running back in the 3rd, and that's not to say I don't like him. That's not to say I don't like the running.
I saw someone in the chat say, "Oh, when he's running over people, y'all gonna like him." Then and it's like, it's not the player. It's not about the player. Like, that's where I'm going with it. And how many running backs can you draft to run somebody over? Like you don't have to go in the 3rd round to get that because of the value of running backs. Those guys are pushed down. Like, you can get one 5th round, 6th round if he's an insurance guy. But again, if you think he's gonna be the guy, then now it makes sense to me. Like if I was if we were having this conversation with Kyle Shanahan and he's like, oh yeah, well, we plan on giving him, 12 to 14 carries a game, and we really kind of want him to be our lead back and let Elijah Mitchell play this different role, then I'd be like, oh, got it, Kyle. Like that makes sense. But if he says, well, we just drafted him because, Elijah Mitchell gets banged up sometimes. He's missed some games. So we drafted this guy third round just in case. Then I'll be like, the fuck you doing, Kyle?
Exactly. No. And that makes perfect sense. And if he's the guy, if they see him as the guy, perfect running back, oh, he fits our system, we love his style, then we go back to the year before and be like, you got terrible value in the third round for drafting Trey Sermon.
But I don't want to blame, like, yeah, that would be terrible value on Sermon. But I don't want to make it like well, this is bad or good because of the Trey Sermon. Like, to me, it's the Trey Sermon pick, like, that's done. Use the third round on him, whatever. My thing, it's all about moving forward and where you see, because maybe they just don't like Trey Sermon. So they wanted to bring in the running back, right? But, like, again, and I see my guy Eric Fields in the chat, and he's like, well, the 49ers have had to use so many running backs. And that's fine. You got to use running backs and guys play and all that. But do you have to take that over someone else that you're probably going to play sooner than later? So, it just comes back to the value. I think, again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. It is not about the player. It's not even about the running back. It's about what are your plans with him in the sense of the value of using a running back. Running backs don't get drafted as high unless they are coming in to be the guy. Najee Harris, he came in like he's starting, right? Yeah. Now, the running back, I thought this was a terrible pick, Jacksonville Jaguars with Travis Etienne. Why would you draft Travis Etienne? You have an undrafted rookie running back. He was an undrafted rookie the previous year, and Robinson, who ran for over 1,000 yards, and you got him undrafted. He's cheap. Why would you draft Travis Etienne first round as a running back? That made no sense to me. The Harris pick, Najee Harris, made perfect sense. Etienne, I'm like, what are they doing? Right?
Nope, it did.
And any guy that was drafted, those running backs, Kenneth Walker drafted to Seattle, second round. He's going to be the guy. Like, that's going to be the guy. That's good value. If you're still, and most people would still say, hey, a little high for a running back. But whatever. If he's coming in and he's your guy, cool. But it's the insurance part. Like, if the 49ers drafted this guy, well, we play a lot of running backs. So we're drafting this guy third round. That's where I'm like, because you wanted to run the ball with Elijah Mitchell, and he ran well. He got better as the season went on. Okay, he got banged up. Okay, you want to take a little bit off of his plate? Okay, draft a guy in the fifth round. That's better value for the running back position.
Exactly. If he's going to be that guy, if that's how they see him, he better be that guy for it to make any modicum of sense. And like you said with that dude Fields, he said, oh, we had to go get all these running backs. That's all the more reason you don't need to draft them high. You just made your point. They're getting hurt left and right. What kind of value are you getting if all your running backs are just dropping like flies? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, that just proves the point right there.
All right, Mike, I got to get to the next caller now. I appreciate you coming on.
All right, bro.
All right, you have a good one. Here we go. Coming on. We got Niner Gang Podcast. Oh, and real quick, this forum here is just for debate. I'm not saying y'all are wrong and I'm right and all that. It's just debate. So my guy Eric Fields, I would love to have you come on here. I disagree, but I can respectfully disagree. And I definitely can respect your side. Like, I get what you're saying. 49ers go through a lot of running backs. You need a bat. I get that. I just think it's bad value in the third. That's all I'm saying. But I do agree. Like, man, they did play a lot of running backs. Man, they did have to play Deebo Samuel there. That's not ideal, right? I get you. What's up, Dion? Good morning, bro.
What's going on? Good morning to you, Croc. Didn't get a chance to check out the thing with you and the wife, but I definitely will, man. I'm pretty sure it was very interesting and insightful. So I'll definitely get to that sometime today.
Oh yeah, me and the wifey were on. Let's see how many views we're at right now. Hold on. Let's see how many views we're at. She did her thing, man. She was good. She was good. I was like surprised with how comfortable she was. Like, just talking or whatever. But okay, over 1,500 views. So that's what's up. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's dope. Hey, that's dope, man. Congrats on that. I'll say this: when it comes to running back, I have to agree with you. Could have drafted him later. I don't understand the third round pick. And here, if people in the chat want to debate this, these are facts that I'm going to lay out to you. Our second and third round picks didn't play last year. I mean, barely. Sermon played a couple of games. Aaron Banks barely suited up, and he only suited up for special teams. I don't believe the lie that they were, possibly going to put him in but they didn't want to mess with the things that they had. No, you're just talking him up. I'm sorry. You don't draft a guy in the second round to sit him. I usually believe that your first or third round picks typically are going to fight and compete for a starting spot.
You want them to.
You want them to.
Again, that's
It
not.
doesn't always
It's
work
not
out.
how it always plays out. It don't play out that way all the time. But
Yeah.
you want your day one and day two guys to come in and be able to compete for a starting spot. Yeah.
I completely agree with you on that, because that's what I'm thinking. If I draft you in the first or third round, that means I feel that you have the ability to be a contributing factor to me, for me on my team very quickly. So I didn't necessarily care for the pick. I'm like, we have Hasty, we have Wilson, we have Sermon, and we have Mitchell. So we have 4 viable backs. You mean to tell me we finna run through 4? Do we got to draft another one in the third? Or is it that you're out on Trey Sermon? Then why did you waste the pick on him in the first place? That's going to be a questionable thing.
I don't want to ask why they wasted the pick on Sermon, because I think we knew what their intentions were with Sermon. Like, I do believe that they wanted Sermon to be a big part of. He just couldn't do it, and I don't want to hold what Sermon did against Davis Price.
I'm not holding. I'm not, and I don't want to. I'm not saying that I'm holding that against Davis Price. I'm holding that against John and Kyle, because they're the ones making the decision to draft these guys. And then next thing you know, if they don't pan out, they give us a crap excuse for it. For me, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably the only person that was disappointed with the draft. Like, I didn't feel that we needed to draft another edge rusher to go ahead and put on opposite of Nick Bosa. We signed all these guys in the offseason, and we have guys that already know who Chris Kasarik is. So it's like we draft another edge rusher. What a coincidence. Like that right there bothered me, because I'm tired of watching us draft defensive linemen on a continual basis. And I know a lot of people will go, well, we needed a guy opposite Bosa. Do we know if Drake London's going to work out? He's a rookie. We don't know if he's going to work out or not. You don't know if any of your rookies are going to work out. But at the same time, you went into the offseason.
You like the Drake Jackson pick?
I did not care for it, not at all. I honestly was of the ilk. I'm tired of drafting defensive linemen with our first pick. I don't want to see it again. Outside of Trey Lance, since John Lynch has been here, it's always been a defensive lineman with the first pick.
Okay, hold on. I think this is the perfect time. To create the whole. We're going to have multiple people come on here right now, because I want the debate, baby. We got Papa Dragon in the house. We got Terra Dome in the house. So we got Dion here, y'all. And Dion believes that the 49ers should not have taken Drake Jackson. Terra Dome, Papa Dragon, I want to hear y'all input. Let's get a debate going. Let's go.
Good morning, men. Good morning, men. And some mighty fine men you are. First, let me shout out the Not Ideal podcast last night. Miss Stevie in the house. She was getting more contributions than Eric. Everybody was shouting. She was fine last night. She was fine. They were putting in. She said, what's the super chat? He said, that's what gives you money. She said, oh, I'm getting money. Everybody just started dumping on her. She was getting the love. She was getting the love, man. Y'all are beautiful together. She's a Proverbs 31 woman, man. She do you right, man. I saw the love. It was beaming all over you. And
I don't care what nobody says.
Did you see it, Papa?
D had to drop the mic moment. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, bro. Steve is the one. And I'm gonna have to agree too, man. We always take a defensive lineman. I think it's a layup for him. It's a safe bet. And Kyle seeks the safe water. That's where he's at with Jimmy G. I think that's his crutch. He feels like I don't want to let it go. He feels like I can't do anything without Jimmy G because he believes in the numbers. I might lose if I don't have Jimmy G around. I might mess up if I don't get a lineman out of the Pac-10 because a defensive lineman out of the Pac-10 because that's where I seek my refuge. But dude, I've been telling them since 2017. I'm here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Every Clemson game has come on in 2017 when they called me for season tickets. I said, dude, if y'all don't draft Deshaun Watson with this third pick, don't call me for season tickets. You got it right here. You're going to solve all your problems, and we will be in the Super Bowl if you get Deshaun Watson with that third pick. And what did they do? With the third pick, they went with Solomon Thomas.
And they were told not to. They were
exactly.
told not to. The scouts told them he did not fit the system. And what were we doing? We were waiting on who? None other than the man that's still in Minnesota to this day, Kirk Cousins.
Situation, with one exception. I mean, homeboy does got like 24 massagers accusing him of sexual assault. Let's talk about the current player.
We would have been a little bit better in San Francisco, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, maybe.
Second, and why you take him? Okay, last year he was ranked number 7th overall as far as draft goes. So the draft happened last year, and Drake was in it. Guess what? He would have been the top 10 pick. He dropped this year because, again, his coaching staff didn't know how to use him. And unless you've been in that position before, where someone's telling you to lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, change position, you don't know what it's like. It could be a career ender because it usually leads to injuries. In his particular case, his entire coaching staff got fired at USC. So I think, honestly, if you look at that kind of talent and you look at a bunch of defensive linemen on one-year deals and you look at the possibility of paying Nick Bosa quarterback money, yeah, you should always look at that if that's what your team is based around. They're based around it. Personally, I think that he's going to be a star. I think with Kosaric, those long arms, the back flips, the dip, the bend, all that stuff is elite traits. And that's what you're drafting for, is elite traits. So I'm not upset about that pick at all. In fact, in my
Tag team.
Right.
Papa Dragon, because it's 2-on-2. We got to tag team this. I can't let you get all of it because that's what you do. You build from the inside out. You got to draft the line. That's what moves. I wasn't saying no. I was saying that's what moves the needle in the NFL. That's what moves the needle. It's that defensive line and a good quarterback. Hands down, that's what moves the needle.
Right.
That's what we come to see.
In
We come to see that. We come to see the quarterback throw to the receiver, and we come to see the quarterback get crushed. Right? That's what we come to see.
Bosa and D Ford. What was that like on a Super Bowl run? That was hell on wheels. That's what that was.
Right?
That's hell on wheels. So you need to try to get back to that because that is a very, very successful for you. Again, a lot of us want to sit here and act like Elijah Mitchell's a Pro Bowler. He ain't. Yeah. We are a running football team whose best running back was Deebo Samuel last year. How could you not draft a running back high?
I'll tell you why you couldn't draft a running back high.
Yeah,
I'll give you a good enough
Papa
reason.
Dragon, I'm telling you, I just said that about running backs. We just had that conversation about running backs.
If you're a running team, this is one thing we can all agree on and don't expect. Don't expect Kyle to sit there and say, oh, Trey Lance, he's number one, he's the guy. He'll never say it. Just like he's never going to say who the number one running back is. But Elijah Mitchell, God bless him, he hits the hole hard. But if it's just me, if I look at Elijah Mitchell's tape, it looks like he blows 80% of his wide hitting the hole. After that, 10, 15 years down the road, he starts slowing down. That is not elite traits. It's not.
So then explain to me why we drafted Trey Sermon in the 3rd round. Explain to me why we re-signed Jeff Wilson Jr. Explain to me why we still have Jermichael Hasty. What I'm trying to tell you is you can't keep these are
like a scratch-off lottery ticket. Some are going to work out, half of them won't. It doesn't mean that
Elijah Mitchell seems to work out.
Hold on. Papa Dragon. I think you got to get a little bit closer to your mic.
Oh, Yeah, what I'm saying is it doesn't mean you stop. I mean, it's like a scratch-off lottery ticket. You draft a player. He works out or he doesn't. You don't know what he's like in your building until he's in your building with your coaches. If you're seeing something that he's not doing right or he's not handling his position right or his duties, that's how other players get elevated. So if you're a third-round pick and you lost carries to a sixth-round pick, I'm sorry, son, you're not getting it done in the NFL.
Okay, so then then what you just said right now says that they wasted a pick on Trey Sermon.
I'm not
because
saying they
you're telling,
wasted.
but
You
no,
can't
but
look at every failed
listen
pick
to
as a
the point that I'm
waste.
trying to make though.
No, you're saying a wasted pick. You're saying, oh, I'm just going to waste this pick. No, you draft and you hope for the best. You don't know what you got.
Exactly.
You didn't let me finish my point.
Not a wasted
That's what
pick.
I'm
Trey
saying.
Sermon just didn't pan out. That's just how it happens. That's the NFL. Some people pan out, some people do, some people don't. That's not a wasted pick. You can't say a player coming from a school he came from was a wasted pick. That's a prestigious school.
You got to let me finish my point. That's what I'm trying to say. It's very simple. This is how I look at it. When we drafted Aaron Banks, what were we all saying last year? We need a DB. When we drafted,
still don't know what Aaron Banks is. We still don't
I'll
know
let
what
y'all-
Aaron
let me-
Banks
let me
is
get
to this
mine
day.
off. Now hold on. Let me finish. When we drafted Trey Sermon, what was everybody saying? We need a DB. So
100%.
we drafted two dudes who did nothing for the squad. One guy couldn't even get on the field until he got to special teams toward the end of the season. The other guy played a couple of games and magically disappeared. So what I'm telling you is, in my eyes, that to me tells me if you draft a guy with rounds 1 through 3, you typically expect him to compete for a starting spot and to contribute to your team in some way, shape, or form. I think we can all agree on that. So why is Trey Sermon now randomly being sat down and you're saying, oh, well, I don't know about this guy, so I got to draft another guy. And then you draft a defensive lineman when you need to protect Trey Lance. We have 3 spots on our line, 2 guard spots and a center, and we don't know if our center's coming back. So I believe we need to protect Trey Lance. That is the reason why.
That's what hit me,
guys.
too, That's what hit me too, guys. Because the narrative kind of changed when Lincoln Tomlinson went out of here. Now it's not only just the offensive lineman that we needed. You lost a Pro Bowler, man, and a guy who didn't miss an entire snap the entire season. Now my whole narrative changed. We kind of held serve, and I was looking for a splash in terms of an offensive lineman, not to mention the rumblings about Mack possibly retiring. We were already down and weak on that right side of the offensive line.
One of the things I liked about Jim Harbaugh, what he used to say was in public, he used to say, iron sharpens iron. So now Lincoln's gone. Now somebody has to fill those shoes, because I do believe Alex Mack is staying. I think he's going to stay.
One thing I want to say is, hold on. Just because a player doesn't work out doesn't mean it was a wasted pick.
Exactly.
I mean, in hindsight, maybe you could say it's a wasted pick, but in the moment, I mean, we know going into the draft, all these guys won't hit. Right? Like that's just we know that for a fact. So I don't want to, and that's why it's like I don't want to. I'm not tying in the Sermon pick to the Davis Price pick. In my opinion, it's just the value of taking guy third round. If he's not a running back third round, if you're not bringing that guy in to be the guy. I think there are other positions that you draft third round. If you want to say depth, maybe even an edge rusher, maybe a secondary player. But running back, you can find starting running backs, as we've seen later, and not just like on a whim, right? Like let's say George Kittle, a tight end. What is that noise? Who is that? You got like a swoosh. Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
I'm not sure.
But let's say like George Kittle, right? Tight end drafted in the 5th round. I won't say, oh man, well, you can get George Kittle in the 5th round, so why draft a tight end 1st, 2nd round? Like, no, I'm not saying that, right? But we've seen consistently that running backs, where are they drafted? Like you look through the guys that have excelled, what were their roles when they were coming into the league? Where were they drafted at? And I think that's why the value of the running back, that's why I'm viewing it that way. But again, we know every draft pick won't hit. So I don't want to blame another player that was previously drafted and I'm going to use that against this new guy that was drafted. I hope that makes sense.
That's fair.
Bro, I came on earlier to defend or to argue against that because I do believe it was true value.
No, I think personally, when I saw him and I saw his film and I watched this 22 film, I'm like, this dude reminds me of Debo when he runs. And
exactly.
Like, there it is right there. He reminds me of Debo. He gets faster as he goes. He gets stronger as he goes. He's got this quickness to get to certain spots on the field very, very quickly. I'm like, to me, it made sense. So I think he's the best draft pick. He'll have the biggest impact this year out of all the rookies.
So it was okay. It's okay to leave Trey Lance out, hang him out to dry with no guards and no center. Like that's what I'm telling y'all. And that's why I didn't. That's why I figured we should have drafted offensive linemen ahead of time to be able to protect him better.
I think the NFL is becoming built differently. Croc, the way it's becoming is all the stronger, bigger guys, your linebackers, your tight ends, dang near your tackles. Everybody who's strong and have to be quick are becoming the Fred Warner body type, the tall, big, strong, fast guys. Everybody has to compete with each other. So everybody's mad that McGlinchey is slimming down, but he's a tackle. He has to be able to kick step and get out. He has to be able to move. It's hard. I'm 350. I'm big. It's hard to move that big. You're that to kick step that far out. It's hard. So to be slim and to be fast is better in the NFL nowadays. You got to be able to compete with those linebackers.
Man.
Wait, so y'all agree that our line is solid? That's what I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Y'all agree that the line is solid?
Whoa. What I am saying is this. This is what we know about Shanahan. It takes a lot to crack that starting lineup. So anybody in the second
our roster is dope, bro. I'm telling you, we got to the NFC Championship game, bro. Our roster is dope. So don't play it like, anybody could just get drafted and start on our roster, bro. Our roster is sick.
We got to the NFC Championship with great D and Debo Samuels.
Bro, trust me, bro. It takes 22 people to win an NFL game. It takes 22 people plus to win an NFL game.
Y'all telling me that the line is solid. Y'all telling me the O-line is solid.
It takes 22 people plus to win an NFL game.
No, bro.
Plus the weather has to be good. The grass has to be good. You have to get the ball has to go your way. It is so tough to win in this league. You don't understand.
I was here. Green Bay.
Do you believe the O-line is solid? You believe
Hold up. Hold on. I'm gonna pick the guy to talk right now. Eddie hasn't been able to speak yet. All right, so let's
Eddie. Let's
get the control.
My bad.
Eddie, go ahead and we gotta let Eddie get his take off. All right.
I'm gonna be quick. I just wanted to say, can you hear me, Croc?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I just wanted to say, we don't want to hold these draft picks or these, the Trey Sermons of the world against the guys that got drafted this year, right? Obviously, Kyle, John, they have a philosophy that they stick with in terms of drafting players. If TDP ends up being the back, a guy, a dog, ain't none of us going to care where he was drafted. We're not going to give a damn. Now, it's a little bit presumptuous of us to say bad value pick right now because you don't know what he's going to be. Now, if in 2 years he's Trey Sermon 2.0 and he doesn't produce, horrible pick. But if he's anything like an Elijah Mitchell and you got him in the third round, people aren't going to care. He's going to be your bell cow. He's going to be that guy that gets you over the hump. He's going to be the guy that spells, Eli, give him a little bit of a break. Guy had a couple of injuries last year. Jeff Wilson. I've always been like a Jeff Wilson fan, not on the field enough for me, right? If TDP becomes that guy, none of us are going to care where they got drafted.
Okay, I like it. Mr. Roscoe, it's your turn. Do you have any rebuttal to that, or do you agree with our guy Eddie?
I always agree with Eddie. Eddie be always coming in and talking with sense. We should just call him Make It Make Sense Eddie, because he always make it make sense.
Yeah.
But no, I just want to talk to Dion because Dion, we drafted offensive linemen. I mean, just because Aaron Banks didn't play doesn't mean he's garbage or anything. We're going to find out who he is this year. So we did draft offensive linemen to protect Trey Lance. They were sticking to their plan. So this year he's going to have a chance to compete. We drafted more offensive linemen this year. We still have Brunskill. At the end of the day, your team is, like I said yesterday on Croc Show, there's no perfect team. The team is going to have holes. Teams are going to have question marks. We're going to find out about our offensive line. I have no trouble with McGlinchey right now. McGlinchey actually last year was playing pretty well before he got hurt. So I'm expecting him to come back. Where we're returning Brunskill. Mac is a question mark. We still have the best left tackle in football. I don't have a problem with the offensive line. As far as value at running back, it was a head scratcher when we make the pick. But at the end of the day, the Niners, whatever the Niners are looking for, I'm not going to question them on that. There's something that they see in TDP that they like. So whatever it is, they're going to let him come in and compete. This show is about competition. So there's going to be competition on offensive line. There's going to be competition in the running back room. There's going to be a competition in the cornerback room. There's going to be a competition in the safety room. There's actually maybe competition at the quarterback room, but the way the Niners talking, I don't know. I think they are all in on Trey Lance now. And there's going to be competition in the running back in the receivers room. This off season, going into training camp, this is the year of competition. There's a bunch of battles that is going to happen. So whoever said that the iron sharpens iron was 100% right. Like, our team is so talented, but at the end of the day, the Niners are bringing in guys and said, look, people gonna have to compete to win their starting jobs this year. There's no guaranteed starting job. Maybe to Travarius Ward, maybe he's guaranteed, but other than that, I mean, in Jimmy Ward, there's certain spots, but at the end of the day, this is the year of competition. And as far as the first pick that we had, Drake Jackson, that was an amazing pick. We've got somebody opposite of Bosa. At the end of the day, when we watched that game against the Rams, we needed somebody else to create pressure. Nobody else was able to create pressure besides Nick Bosa. Now we got somebody who's athletic as hell who can come in and he's with Chris Kasarik, and to use his ability, man, the sky's the limit. So at the end of the day, I'm not really tripping on the whole running back situation. He's coming in to compete. He has a chance to beat out Elijah Mitchell. He has a chance to beat out Trey Sermon. Somebody's going to come out to pack the winner, and we're going to have to find out. Year of competition.
All right, hold on. I want one more question for you. All right, here we go. This is for you. You're going to answer this, Chris. The 49ers only signed one undrafted free agent, safety. Is Tart coming back?
Tart is not coming back. It's going to be between, they said they're open, but I don't think they're bringing him back. It's between Hufanga, Odom, and Moore, Tavarius Moore. Look, the 49ers were, as good as Tart is, the 49ers was pushing Hufanga to cut into his snaps.
Is Tart restricted or unrestricted?
Hold on. There's something that they liked about Hufanga that they said, we're going to start playing you more and you're going to start cutting in to this starter's snaps. He started 4 games when Jimmy Ward was hurt in 2019. I don't know if folks remember that, but he started. So at the end of the day, I have no issue with that safety position. And if O'Neal comes in and maybe if he's good enough, he's going to compete. I mean, he was pretty good at Texas A&M. He wasn't the best safety. Antonio Johnson, watch for him next year. But at the end of the day, he's going to come in and compete too. There's going to be open competition at that safety position, and I'm putting my money on Hufanga, baby.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to let each person get a minute on whatever take it is that they want to get off, and then we're going to get out of here. All right, so starting with Dion. Dion's at the top. We're going to work from the top to the bottom. Dion, whatever final take you have, go ahead, get that off.
My final take is I'm looking to protect our investment in Trey Lance, and that's why I was set on us drafting O-linemen higher than what we did draft. We did draft a few O-linemen. We did get the center from ASU, but my objective is to protect Trey Lance at all costs. I don't want him failing. I don't need the Jimmy G lovers coming out calling his name and crying for him. And what everybody is attacking me on is simply saying, oh, well, you go ahead and you just draft and it takes 22 people. Like, I get everybody's point and I respect their points, but I respectfully disagree. My job is to protect Trey Lance. I want to feel some kind of comfort in knowing that's going to happen. And honestly, right now, with 2 guard spots and a center spot being in question, I don't feel comfortable. And Mike McGlinchey is just is a run blocker. He's not great at pass pro. We all know the truth of that. So while everybody else is comfortable with it, that's your opinion. You're entitled to such. I am of the ilk. Protect Trey Lance at all costs. Give him everything he needs to succeed. And for me, the running back pick was a little too high. You could have drafted that guy in the 6th or 7th round and made him Mr. Irrelevant. I wouldn't have cared. But for me, I thought we should have drafted some linemen to protect him because obviously it didn't seem like we had the guys and we let Lake and Tomlinson walk. So that's just my take on it. Everybody else can have their opinions. I completely understand it. I respect it. But me personally, I want to protect Trey Lance. I want nothing to do with another defensive lineman because it seems like that's all that John loves to do. But that's just me. Everybody else can love the defensive lineman and take all those picks. That is your opinion. Me, I'm tired of seeing it happen. And I guarantee you next year, probably going to happen again.
All right, awesome. Here we go. Good take, good take. We got the next guy coming up. Tyrell, go ahead, get your take off.
Good thing he disagreed with me because this is about competition. And the Jackson pick, dope. Loved it. Tart, unrestricted. I don't think he's coming back. Got a minute, so I was trying to make it quick. Oh, this league, I was saying about everybody turning into Fred Warner and George Kittle, and everybody has that big, fast, strong body type. But the running back has to protect those guys too. So to his defense, the running back pick is to protect Trey Lance too, because you should see that guy in pass protection. And you need 2 running backs. So if he runs anything as good as they think he does, then let him compete, like the guy said. And that's just how it is. And defensive line, you build from the inside out. Go Croc. Hey, they need to change Jimmy's release on Madden. Like, his quick release is like something crazy in real life. I seen him against that second game against LA. But on Madden, bro, his release is so slow. He gets sacked like dang near every time. Like, come on, man. His release is laser fast. All right, man. Have a good morning.
All right.
Don't forget to work out too, Croc.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting it in right after this. Let's go.
Yep.
I'm down too. I'm down. I started at 217 pounds. I stepped on the scale this morning. I was 204. So I'm trying to get to about 195. That's where I should be.
I just had a baby. You know what I mean? Remember,
muscle.
I just had a baby, my 6th baby. You remember? So I put on a few pounds.
Oh yeah. Hey man, you just gotta get going, get in the rhythm, get in the groove, man. You'll get it right.
Well, yeah, once you get the gym up, man, I'm gonna come work for you down there, man. And you can show me how it's done.
Congrats on the baby.
You have a good morning.
Brother. Congratulations.
All right, here we go. Next up, we got Terradome.
I'm reiterating the same a lot like Fred, man. It's about value, quality, and fit when you're getting these draft choices. And that's not an indictment on anybody's talent or anybody who's going to make the team. We can all look back on it, and a 5th rounder might be George Kittle, and he might be an all-pro. We're just looking at almost a trading commodity, and as Papa said, scratch off lottery tickets. We're hoping they all pan out. All we can look at is what we have and what we don't have. And when I see the exodus of an all-pro, and we know that Trey Lance is coming, we want to keep him upright and we want to set him up for success. If we don't have Trey Lance set up for success, it's a possibility of the Boo Birds coming out, and you're dealing with a shallow ego, perhaps. And we don't want this young kid to go in the tank. We can throw all types of weapons around them, but if you don't have the engine in the car, it don't make a difference if you got the sunroof top, diamond in the back, and all this other good stuff in the gangster lean. You're going to be on the ground. We had Lincoln Tomlinson go away. I just wanted the quality of the best offensive linemen around him first, and then possibly move to our secondary, which going back in our overreaction shows, the first thing we always said, majority of the time when we took losses, man, we got to do something with McGlinchey. Man, we got to do something with Brunskill. Man, those safeties are late coming over the deep third, coming over to the sideline. Man, we got to do better corners. Get Josh Norman out of here. Get this other one out of here. We looked at secondary, we looked at offensive linemen, and identified that as our greatest gaping weaknesses. And we must, at all costs, get those things better. Those were our number one priorities, and that's what we should have been going at first to get the quality picks. That's all I'm
All
saying.
right, Terradome, I appreciate you coming on. All right, here we go. We got Papa Dragon now. Papa Dragon, get your
All
take
right,
off.
last word. Well, obviously, when you're a running team, if your wide receiver is the best running back you have, and you're handing the ball to him on 3rd and 7 in Lambeau Field, you have a serious problem. And I believe that they addressed that problem with TDP. Now, I could be
Okay.
wrong. I may be wrong. But to me, it was worth the pick. Like I said, he runs like Debo. Aggressive, quick to the edges. That's what we need. So, moving forward, how do you protect and help Trey Lance? Well, you do have to get better on the offensive line. But there is no one in the 2nd and 3rd round that's going to beat the people that are already there. Kyle has a history of saying, hey, if you can't beat out Brunskill, you don't start. We saw a lot of people who we felt were bums start at offensive line last year. Okay, and it is frustrating. But there are really only about 3 or 4 offensive linemen that are going to come in and start on an NFL team. And they went in the 1st round. So, that being said, ultimately, I think they've improved with the special teams. We were ranked 26th. So, hopefully, we'll get some field position and some yardage back there. Next year, we have one of the top kick returners in the league now. That will help Trey Lance. Defensively, Talanoa Hufanga will start. Why? Because we got better on the outside. The safeties will not have to bail out the cornerbacks as much as they did before. So Hufanga will play a traditional strong safety role, and Ward will play free safety and strong safety. So I do believe that they got better on defense. I believe that they got better in special teams. Offensively, we got better at quarterback. Right now, last year, Garoppolo was number 4 in the NFC West. I believe Trey Lance is number 3. And he hasn't even played many snaps yet. I just think that he's better than Drew Lock. So provided that they continue to run the ball with running backs instead of wide receivers, as long as people can fear our running game, then I do believe that the 49ers will be okay because, again, the NFL is a passing league. We're one of the few teams that run. And most of the running teams make the playoffs. So that being said, I'm very optimistic that the 49ers can be successful next year. That's my time.
All right. I like it. All right. And last but not least, my guy Chris Roscoe. You got one last take?
Yep. All right. So I love you. I love you, Dion, but I'm gonna have to cuff for you. You can't say that you're tired of drafting defensive linemen when when our defensive lineman has led us to a NFC championship, to a Super Bowl, led us to a ranking of being ranked 2nd in 2019, ranked 5th in 2020, and ranked 3rd last year. Besides Deebo Samuel, it was our defensive line that carried us through the season. Did we not have 5 sacks the last game of the season? Did we not have 5 sacks against the Packers? Did we not have 5 sacks against the Cowboys? Like we hate these defensive line picks until when the season's going on, and then they're dominating and we're loving it. At the end of the day, also when we talk about corner, we drafted 4 corners in 2 years. We value corners. We've drafted 4 offensive linemen in 2 years. They are trying to protect Trey Lance. I don't care where they actually drafted Banks High. So at the end of the day, they are addressing the offensive line, and they are trying to protect Trey Lance. At the end of the day, like I said before, this is the year of competition. Let our guys compete. I'm excited. We're going 12-5. Trey Lance season, baby.
All right. I like it. And shout out to my guy Corey Soto here. He says
We going bowling. 12-5.
12-5. That's where it's at. Hey, fellas, I appreciate all y'all for coming on, man. And nice level-headed takes. I appreciate that. Y'all have a good day.
Hey, you too, Croc.
Thanks,
You
Croc.
too,
right.
Croc. Have a good one.
You the man, Croc.
All right, shout out to everybody that made this a very enjoyable show. You know, I know I kind of turned into Jerry Springer a little bit in there, but we got back on track, and I thought everyone had some really good, nice and thoughtful takes and whatnot. And again, I always say, because somebody the other day was like, "Croc, you want to be right?" Blah blah. Hey, I am more than willing to listen to other people's perspectives, and I thought those guys made some really good case on the pick. Now, where we messed up, we didn't get to the rest of the roster that we were going to talk about with some of the competitions and things like that. We'll save that for tomorrow. All right. But shout out to everyone that came on here and made their case for the running back pick or, you know, the Drake Jackson pick and all that. I thought, man, y'all were awesome, man. And you know, I sit back and I'll read the comments and I'm laughing at the comments and I'm listening to y'all, man. And it was good stuff. It was good. It was good stuff. Here we go. What's this right here? Yo, Croc, come train at the Nick Diaz Academy. Did Nick Diaz, did he move it? Because usually they have the one right there off of Pacific when you're driving down heading towards like Sherwood, and it's right there on the right-hand side. But I feel like last time I drove by there, it looked empty. So did Diaz move it? I don't know. Gotta let me know where the new one is at. Hey, Diaz. The brothers, they went to the same high school. We grew up in the same north side, Stockton, whole area of Valverde Park right there. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they must be so tough. You know what I'm saying? We some tough dudes from over there. But shout out to everybody. Here we go. Danny Gray is going to be special. I hope so. Greeny. Stevie Crocker for the win. Stevie was amazing last night. Shout out to the wifey. Came on here. If y'all didn't already, new podcast episode of the Not Ideal Podcast. That was episode 4 coming at y'all every Wednesday, dropping new episodes. The YouTube, I'm going to start trying to do the YouTube live on Tuesday nights. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I got a good guest coming on for the next one. All right. Shout out to everyone that contributed to a show last night, today, all that good stuff. Shout out to all my 209ers in the crib. You know what I'm saying? Real Stockton. But that's going to do it for this episode of the 760 49ers Morning Show. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. We out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end.
Hold up. There were a couple of star questions I wanted to get to. All right. So real quick. Corey Soto, I'm just catching up. I disagree with the Lance take. We don't give up 3 first to see how Lance does in minicamp. We need him to start. And I agree. I think right now, 49ers 100% like they want him to be the guy. But as long as Jimmy Garoppolo is on the roster, unfortunately, there's always going to be kind of that shadow over him where it's like, is he ready? Is he not ready? But it gives them time to not have to rush to judgment. And they can see it out, see where he's at. And I think he would have to be like really bad for them to be like, all right, like this not it right now. And I don't think we're going to see that. But I agree. You don't give up that many first round picks or use that many on one guy, but they did, and that's where we're at now. All right. And here we go. Croc, has anybody brought up Lance is more athletic and elusive than Jimmy, and that weaker O-line will not hurt Lance much as Jimmy Kyle creative plays too. Jimmy, the one thing Jimmy did well to kind of combat maybe in the O-line not being as great or whatnot is he does have a quick release and he was a quick decision maker. Whereas Trey Lance, I think you want him to get to be more of that quick decision maker, and that's something that he definitely can work on and get better at. The more comfortable he gets in the offense, but that's an area he needs to improve. You don't want to have Trey Lance have to be more athletic and more elusive. I think you want Trey Lance get the ball out your hands, right? And with timing and rhythm, drop back, ball out your hands, and those things. That's what you want. So it is a plus that he has it, but the athleticism and elusiveness should be plan B. They still build the offensive line, and Trey Lance get the ball out of your hands. All right. Now, we out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Rodgers over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crop Talk TV podcast. Peace.